Howard Wilkinson had asked his players, "Do you want to win?" And in 1992 they did, becoming champions of England for the first time since 1974. With the title, Leeds earned the opportunity to play in the European Cup the following season. It was the first round and Leeds were drawn against German champion Stuttgart.
We start off, we're very comfortable. No problems, none at all. And then I still remember the first goal. Even now, Eric got a hamstring problem. And I remember standing up and asking him and saying, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" The physio was telling me he wasn't all right. So I'm saying to Eric, "Look, you're coming off." And whilst all that's happening, Tony DeRigo's got the ball. And I can see Eric and hear him, he wants the ball.
And Eric was having one of them days where life wasn't just right for him at that time. So.
And in my mind, I'm going, no, do not give him So the ball comes to Eric. Eric, who's got a problem, elects to try and hit this 50, 60-yard cross-field ball to Strachan.
I played left side off a 3 up front. Eric played there and somebody else played on the right-hand side.
And again, I'm going, no, please knock it back to Tony DeRigo. And he tries to hit it. Because of the injury, it's well short. The left back runs onto it, carries it into our half, and we're 1-0 down. And at half-time, then, we've got to rearrange things, and we're 3-0 down.
And we did actually quite well. But every time they shot, they scored.
Leeds lost the first leg in Stuttgart by 3-0. Back at Ellen Road, they would need to score 3 goals just to take the tie into extra time, or 4 to win it outright. But due to the away goals rule, conceding a goal at home would be a disaster, leaving Leeds needing to score 5 in order to win.
There was no doubt in my mind that we could beat them, and beat them well. And all I concentrated on was the first goal.
Attacking down the right, but he looks for Cantona, and it's a good ball to speed. What a magnificent goal!
Unfortunately, conceded a goal again out of the blue.
And I got up to one of my dirty tricks that night because I kept the centre half kept fouling Lee Chapman, and I constantly told the referee to watch this guy pulling Lee Chapman. There's a point where I think, right, okay, I can put the ball in the box here. I've told the referee so many times that he's fouling him, and I just went, I don't care where it goes, as long as it goes beside Lee Chapman. Right, so I belted towards Lee Chapman, penalty.
Absolutely spot on there, the referee. Penalty. Gary McAllister will take it. What a vital kick this is. He scored! It's 2-1 to Leeds.
Eric scores, and then the last goal from Chapman off a corner.
From a disastrous performance in Stuttgart, you can put it one of the best performances ever. And you think you were so close to making history.
Bitterly disappointed to have played so well, to have proved we were a better team, I think. And yet, at the end of it, we finish up out of the competition.
We were the better team over 2 legs, and we felt injustice.
Despite an heroic performance and a 4-1 second leg victory for Leeds, Stuttgart triumphed on the away goals rule after a 4-all aggregate draw. But it wasn't over.
You get changed and the players leave and you're having a drink, maybe 1 or 2 guests pop in. In those days you invite the opposition. It was during that time that someone came in, one of the people in admin, and mentioned something about registration or, you know, there's been a sort of a problem.
I'm in the boardroom and there's a new newspaper people. I knew them all. And he came to me, he says, after the game, I'm going to tell you something. Bill, he says, I'm going to tell you something. You must object to this. They had a player that shouldn't have been playing. Oh my God, I said, I don't believe it. He said, yeah. He said, but you've got to be very careful. Oh, I said, don't worry about that, I'll be careful. Now, straight away, I go out, I've made a business of it, straight away.
And the day after, you're standing at your kid's school match and somebody phones you to say there's a game on again, by the looks of it, and you scratch your head and wonder why there's a game on again. Then people explain to you that the the substitute come on wasn't registered. And people think, well, that's a bit hard on the other team. But when you think about how the game went and how we were really tearing down their defences at that point, and we were unleashing, in the words of Roman generals, unleashing hell on the Stuttgart back line. They changed it to a back three and put a giant on, a big lad to come on as sub. And that was a guy who did make a difference, because at that point we just needed one goal to go through.
You can't play an ineligible player. In England, FA Cup, etc., you cannot play an ineligible. If you do, that's you out the competition. So when we got the decision, at first we were surprised, more shocked, but surprised. But then you've got to then deal with that.
You couldn't believe it. It was get out of jail, free time. And so that meant also the fact that when they said the replay was going to be in Barcelona, you think, fantastic. It wasn't, if they'd said it was at Leeds, it'd have been good. Technically, it should have been at Leeds. But it was the sense of excitement and adventure being in a world-famous stadium made it an appetising return.
Leeds have been given a chance to keep their European dreams alive in a winner-takes-all replay at Barcelona's Camp Nou stadium. Tickets to the match were limited, but Leeds fans were there.
I flew over to the game from London with the guy that I would later start Loaded magazine with, Tim Southwell. And we went over there, and the city was just full of Leeds. We just were walking around Barcelona, and it was just a great sense of excitement. And then a bunch of us blagged into a nightclub, pretending to be the Farm Pop group. And I remember turning to Tim and say, this is what our magazine's got to feel like. This sense of excitement, and this, that you can do anything, you can achieve anything.
Inside the Camp Nou, the atmosphere was tense, but the Leeds fans made their voices heard.
And then, when we got into the ground was empty, but for our end. There were a few Stuttgart at the far end. I don't know if they hadn't got as many tickets or what, but there didn't seem to be as many as Leeds. And then not long before kick-off, on one of the sides, a lot of Spanish people arrived, and they had big banners, homemade banners. And they were like, some of them were referring to the Second World War. It was like England, not Germany, and Leeds, and they were cheering for Leeds. So that was good. That was like, that brought a lot of, sort of released the tension a bit, and there was a lot of excitement, and it was strange being in such a really big stadium where 3/4 of it was empty.
And people ask me about, what was it like in front of 6,000? I couldn't have told you what it was like. I really, because I was so fixated on the game. I was oblivious to the crowd. I think it helps at night when it's dark. And there was a noise coming from somewhere, but I'm not sure where it was, because I'm told that the Leeds fans were quite high up in the gods. We recognised that at the end of the game, but when the game started, I really wasn't sure where they were.
Yeah, I was on the second tier up behind the goal, so it was a long view down.
It was a strange night. It was eerie in the stadium. Our fans made a lot of noise. They didn't have half as many as us.
It was genuinely a sort of a magical feel, just because it was so unusual. The whole thing was A, unexpected, B, really unusual, and C, you almost felt we would win because we were given this chance.
Leeds got off to the dream start when club captain Gordon Strachan took advantage of a poor Stuttgart clearance.
It was one of them when you just go, right, I've run out of ideas, I'm going to have a hit. And it went in the back of the net. Well, first of all, it's a novelty when you tell people that you scored a goal in a new camp and there were 6,000 people at the game, because everybody automatically looks at you and go, well, who are you playing with to get there? And there's only 6,000 people turning up, because you must have been really rubbish at the new camp and only 6,000 people turn up. There's about 40,000 turn up for a new signing there at Barcelona.
After Strachan's opener, Stuttgart equalised. Then Howard Wilkinson sent on an unlikely substitute in Carl Schutt.
I don't think there was anybody in that stadium who was delighted to see him come on, apart from his family. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but he was one of Howard's foot soldiers. And so Howard knew what he could do with this, but he wasn't a player that we would expect to create a bit of magic. And was it his first touch? It was just, again, it was unbelievable. You know, if Strachan had scored or Speedo had scored, or, you know, you would have expected, you wouldn't have been surprised that they'd scored. You'd have been delighted. But the fact it was Carl's shot, I don't think anyone disliked him, but he wasn't the most overwhelming player.
Can he find Strachan? He had a chance to find Strachan, but he finds the net! He's straight on Carl's shot, who celebrates a birthday tomorrow and celebrates a goal tonight. Absolutely. A wonderful shot. Absolutely fantastic, wasn't it? Because
when he came on and scored, it was just amazing. There was just chaos in the stands. But again, partly because it was Carl's shot. If that had been Eric or, you know, even, I don't know, I suppose that the only person it would have been more surprising would have been if it was David Bay or the goalkeeper.
Tui came on as sub, so that was, in a way, you know, a sub won it for us and a sub lost it for them.
I kept up with him, and he really should have passed it to me, because at the time I went pass. I thought, he's having a shot. And I thought, you greedy. Great goal. Good idea ignoring me.
Carl's shot, my God. You see them, you go numb with them times. It's like having a good few whiskies. You know, absolute, the feeling is, you can't buy that kind of feeling.
And it's all over. Leeds are through to play Glasgow Rangers in the next round of the European Cup by 2-1. Their goal scorers, Gordon Strachan and Carl Shutt. There's celebration now on the bench and on the field and amongst the Leeds United fans. Smiles.
Leeds won the game 2-1 and progressed to the next round. They had achieved justice.
Just go and beat them. Go and beat Stuttgart, because they cheated. It's great when you can feel righteous. And that's what we did.
It's one of these things that no many people can say they did. No, for the fact of scoring, but be involved in a game, and Champions League game, English champions, German champions, which is fantastic. I mean, the sound at Leeds, English champions, German champions, and you're playing in front of 6,000 crowd at the new comp. I think that's one that you have in your locker that no many people will have, that's for sure.